Ladies and gentlemen, hello from New York City. Good evening and welcome back. You're watching WCS America 2013, round of 32 of the Premier League, Group A. This is our fourth broadcast day. Of course, we broadcast Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Of course, if you missed any of the matches from the first 3 days, youtube.com/official MLG SC2. Every single video is available there right now in 1080p HD. Personal favorites so far, I would definitely check out Illusion versus Moonglade. Both their series were phenomenal. If I had to pick a game, I would pick Game 2 from their second series. Definitely one of the best games I've ever seen, or one of the best games in WCS America so far.
It was a really great game. That, of course, was on Daybreak.
Yes.
And it was just intensely back and forth. Some great micro moves pulled up from both sides.
Yep.
Great drop play, great knowledge of when to attack, when to defend, where to expand, controlling different zones of the map. It was a really, really awesome game. And honestly, like, I had no idea who was going to win until last 30 seconds.
It was so close. I don't really want to spoil anything, but definitely a match, a game you want to check out. Again, every single game that we've casted is youtube.com/official MLGS2. Be sure to check that out and subscribe if you want. Leave comments in the comments if you're watching this from there right now. How you doing? Thanks for watching on YouTube. Of course, try to catch the live stuff too. 8 p.m. Eastern. Actually, next week I think that's changing. Am I allowed to say that?
I'm saying
it. Next week, 6 p.m. Eastern. We're changing the time from 8 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. A little bit more friendly to the Europeans, I think. So that you might be excited about that. But here's what's happened so far. First match of the day, we had Killer versus Alive. Killer taking the 2-1 in a pretty crazy series. You know, Alive took game 1 relatively convincingly, going for heavy drop play, and Killer just ended up falling apart. Able to get his ultras out, but Alive just had too much. And then the next 2 games were pretty bizarre, weren't they, Nick?
They were. It was a lot of, all 3 games, Killer really played a lot of mind games.
Yeah.
And what happened is, Games 2 and 3, Alive tried to play like mind games and make it scrappy. Like he tried to do, make a really quick adjustment after that 2 racks in Game 2, and then Game 3 did the eBay block. But Killer just said, no, you're going to play these mind games and try to do tricky builds and make the game a little bit funky. You're in my zone, and I will destroy you.
That is that game, that match in a nutshell. And then we went on to see Hero versus Major. Hero with a pretty convincing 2-0. Major played very nice StarCraft, though, I think. It was very promising play. In Game 1, I actually thought he might have had a chance of winning it. It was a pretty close game. But then Game 2, Hero, just really cool play, really cool build. Proxying a Stargate off on 2 bases and getting 2 Oracles and just ravaging the middle line of Major. Of course, that leads us to the next match. It's going to be Killer versus Hero. And we actually had some words from Hero before this group began. He offered some insight on his thoughts on the group and how it would unfold. And we're going to have his responses here on the screen very shortly. But, Hero versus Killer, a lot of people are going to say Hero's going to win. But again, I think it's another situation where you do not want to count out Killer.
You don't. Killer has a lot of cool things about him. His Zerg vs. Protoss, admittedly, hasn't been as good as a Zerg vs. Terran historically. But one thing to note about Killer is I've heard some scary things about his Zerg vs. Protoss. I remember they were talking, even in Control, it's time I say the game.
Yeah.
He does some really annoying stuff with like Vipers and Spore Crawlers and really just slowly will pick apart the Protoss, very, very patient style. The big question, though, is in Game 1, when he played against Alive, Alive's drop play, he had a very difficult time dealing with that.
Right.
And Hero is known for his Warp Prism multi-prong attacks, his just aggressiveness all across the map. That's going to be Hero's strength to take Killer out in this series. Of course, Hero had a few words for us.
Yeah, Hero's asked which players not advanced in the group. He said he's hard to tell, possibly Killer or Major. So, it's showing he's a team guy, of course. Hero and Alive on rival teams, Evil Genius and Team Liquid, but they teamed up in Pro League. So they're living in the same house right now, so definitely going to be supporting each other. And, of course, who he thinks is the strongest player in all of WCS America, saying maybe me. He wants to believe. Hero, a very emotional player, too, which is really cool. Definitely puts his all into each and every game. And it looks like the lobby is getting set up right now. It looks like Game 1 is going to be on Cloud Kingdom. Pretty interesting map.
It is.
EVZs, lots of wild games can happen on Cloud Kingdom.
It is. I think this map is actually going to favor Hero because, like you mentioned, a lot of wild games. Killer really likes to do the picking apart his opponent, but on Cloud Kingdom, there's so many angles he can be attacked by. It's kind of hard to get that Zerg kind of slowly taking over the map, picking apart your opponent's style when there's so many angles you have to defend, from War Prisms, from Zealots running down the sides of the map, hitting your third from the back, and Hero is a guy who's going to use all that.
All right, here we go, guys. The countdown has begun. The first map, as we said, is going to be Cloud Kingdom in this winner's match from Group A. Of course, this is the WCS America round of 32 from the Premier League. The winner of this match will advance to the round of 16 as your #1 seed. The loser will go on to play the winner of the losers match. And here we are. Game number 1 between, in the top right-hand location, your Red Zerg player representing Team Clarity Gaming, hailing from Chile. He is your defending 2012 WCS South America champion. Defeating Alive 2-1 in the first match of the day. Can he pull off yet another upset? He is Killer. His opponent in the bottom left-hand location, your blue Protoss player. One of the most fierce Protoss players to ever play STARCRAFT 2. You never know what he's going to throw at you. Representing Team Liquid and hailing from Korea, he is Hero. Convincing 2-0 victory over Major.
There is one thing about Hero's play that Killer might try to exploit. In PvZ particularly, Hero sometimes gets a little too overly aggressive when he's taking his third base. And Killer is a guy who does go for this Roach Hydra pressure. He does sometimes, he likes to play that mid-game Roach Hydra combination. And if a Protoss gets too aggressive versus that, sometimes the counterattack from the Zerg it can kill a third if the Protoss is trying to both expand and attack at the same time. So it's going to be seen, is Hero going to make sure his third is stabilized? Is he going to try to maybe do the War Prism Harass a little too early? Or is his War Prism Harass, either is he going to stabilize first, then use it, or will be so powerful that Killer is just contained and can't even put on any counter aggression?
Killer also loves his Muta play.
He does.
I think. And, you know, Mutas have kind of been a story of PBZ lately. We saw in Minigun versus Nesty, a crazy style from Nesty. Made like 120 drones into 60 Mutas after throwing away a bunch of Banelings and stuff. But showing how strong Mass Muta can be if left unchecked. So, you know, maybe we'll see something like that from Killer. Hero, a little bit of an interesting opening. Opening up with a Gateway and Core in his main base. Looks like one Zealot coming out and a Probe going across the field. The Cyber Core is done actually only one gas here, which is pretty interesting.
This build has been getting more and more popular amongst both Koreans and Europeans. The one thing that's Killer's own little touch is a lot of players do this build, but they don't get that Zealot. They just get, you know, the Nexus and the Mothership Core, and then they start building Gateway units. Nano, of course, is one of the big proponents of that build. So the Zealot is kind of interesting. It's going to be like a secondary scout. He's also going to try to sell to Killer that he wants Killer to basically make a lot more units than he really needs, because the single Zealot, I mean, you can almost even just beat it with the Queen.
Yeah.
So he moved it out across the map to try to scare Killer, and thinking there was some Zealot Stalker combination, but there really wasn't in this situation. And Killer is making a lot of Zerglings. So if he can't really get too much down with those Zerglings, he's going to have a slightly weaker economy than he would have had it if he just stuck with the drones.
A really cool little move there from Hero, showing how you can do damage without going across the map and literally doing damage. And the damage here is to the economy, right? Sending the Zealot across the map, forcing those Lings out. Now, the Lings are going to come forward, they're going to see what's going on, and you're like, okay, what's going to stop the Lings from canceling the natural? Well, there's a Mothership Core, first of all, and Hero with a very quick, complete wall off. 3 gates behind this, so it's going to be a 4-gate warp gate pressure from Hero. Still only on 1 gas, so probably going to be focusing on that Zealot production. Needs to get a Probe across the map, though, to make that forward pylon. But
he's got one at the top.
Oh, does he? Oh,
yeah, very sneaky. If the Killer doesn't... Oh, he's going to see it. This is so important. This pressure, if you don't catch this pylon, your third is pretty much dead, 100% of the time. But catching his pylon is a huge win. If he can catch a second one, too, he needs to find his Probe and take it out. He cannot afford to let any of these warpings get into place.
Oh, it's going to cancel. Wow, both
And speed is about to finish, so that Probe is going to get run down.
Mothership Core overhead, going to try to help things out. And where does Hero go from here? I mean, I don't think the 4-gate thing is going to work anymore. Still no additional gases, interestingly enough. No gas at his main, no gas at okay, just now adding on the gas at his main.
He's realized it won't work. He tried to pull a little sneaky move there and take out the third of killers, but it didn't work. So now he's going to have to progress into just, it looks like Stargate, and I assume he's also going to take a third base once he warps in enough units to feel comfortable moving out.
Yeah.
So probably a standard macro game from here on out. But Killer, you know, he's in a nice situation because he really didn't lose too much. I mean, he's going to have to make a few additional units to deal with these zealots crossing the map. But compared to if those pylons got up, he would have been in so much trouble.
It's interesting we don't see any evolution chambers here from Killer. So, you know, that style has been so common of the, you know, the Lings into eventual Ultras type play, getting really fast Ling upgrades. Killer's saying, no thanks, going up to layer, has Roaches on the way. And 5 Roaches should be enough to deal with that Zealot counterattack, but it looks like, yeah, that's coming forward, assuming the Roaches get out in time.
Killer's playing very low as far as the econ goes. Of course, teching lair quite a bit faster. Very fast lair tech relative to pretty much your standard 3 Hatch builds, sacrificing a lot of drones to make that tech work.
The Queen ends up falling and just going to recall out of there, trying to save some Zealots. Oracle in production as well, and I'm wondering if this has been scouted. Where are you, Mr. Killer? Stargate is, yeah, Stargate has been scouted by Killer.
Oh, and he actually knows it's an Oracle. The Oracle goes right past it, Overseer. So he knows exactly what he's dealing with. He shouldn't take significant damage to this. Very fast road speed. I was thinking the super fast layer might have been for some sneaky muteless play.
Yeah.
You know, trying to catch Hero off guard by a quick transition. But no, he's going to play Roach Hydra. But just tech, you know, prioritize the tech over the economy.
Still really low econ here from Killer, as we mentioned before. The Oracle might get taken out by these Queens. A little bit of a misstutter step, but doesn't matter. Gets away. 7 HP. But yeah, as you said, 41 Harvesters. I'm really surprised at how low he's keeping those drones. Overseer going to be scouting into the main base. Not a huge sentry count from Hero here. Only 3 on the field. And is there a chance that Killer can potentially deny this third base? I'm assuming Hero's going to start working out to go take that.
I think Killer really wants to deny it. With Roach speed, quantity Roaches, in fact, he's building Hydranus now.
Yeah.
I definitely think what he wants to do is he's saying, I'm not going to fully drone up my third base, but when you take that third, which right now the speeding saw the units move out there, now he's like, okay, I'm going to knock that down because I know you won't have any Colossus up yet or anything like that. You're spending your gas on air. You've gotten a few sentries. You just got that Robo, the Overseer Sock finishing up. So he may have a timing to try to deny that third base.
Got some Hydras popping out here. That'll definitely also help against the Stargates. Hero going to be able to identify that fact too. So needs to put down that Robo Bay right away. And yeah, there it goes down. At the same time, his Nexus goes down. So there's going to be a little bit of a window here where that Nexus is being made, and Hero is not going to have any Colossi on the field. And Hydra's going to have, Hydras are going to be in play here for Killer. But again, his econ has been low. He's only at 48 Harvesters. So, you know, can he really justify going across the map here? Because he's going to be sacrificing a lot of economy by building those Hydras.
I mean, he has to at this point. He's already made a decision. Revelation going down on the army. I'd love to see Killer not show his additional Hydras reinforcements, not group them up, which I think is what he's doing. He's going to put on some pressure here. And Hero might think this is just like a light pressure. But when 8 more, 9 more Hydras come in, followed by Speedlings, Hero could be in trouble, especially given the fact he hasn't walled off that ramp to his natural. Potentially, Speedlings could sneak around the back and flank his army as Killer pushes in with Roach Hydra towards the third directly.
Now, he doesn't have a Colossi now, but it doesn't mean he can't do anything against this push. If he can just force field the bottom of this ramp, just refuse to allow the Hydras from getting up that ramp, he's going to be just fine. Now, what Killer could do is try to peel off units, send some up toward this third, and send up some down through the bottom. And that would be a great way to try to get past the force fields. That looks like that's exactly what he's going to do.
And he never showed to other Hydras. He kept them ungrouped from his revealed guys. 3 force fields, not trapping a single unit. Hero does have plenty more force fields, though, so that shouldn't cost him too much.
This is the window Killer needs. Again, a Colossus is only 70% of the way done, and now Hero knows exactly what's happening, trying to fend off against this push. Photon Overcharge going down onto the Nexus, trying to defend, but I think those force fields are going to be good enough. Has 2 Immortals here as well. I think Hero's going to be just fine.
I think he is. The force fields are great. Photon Overcharge is helping tremendously. Killer, he's killed the Zealots, but he's running out of units.
Yeah, Photon Overcharge getting a good amount of damage done as well, taking out the Overseer. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes are trying to do some damage across the map. 7 workers killed in total here throughout this game from Hero. And the Hydras, don't have a huge ability to run, especially with these Phoenixes in the field. The Colossus is on the field as well, so I don't know, honestly, what's going to stop Hero from potentially going for a counterattack.
I mean, he could go for a counter. He could just sit back and play macro-wise. I mean, he's ahead in almost every regard. Economy's pretty much dead even, but Hero's tech is significantly ahead. Killer not realizing he can't really roach hydra his way from this position. He's got to try to find a more cost-efficient combination, going straight for those locusts.
Still pretty low on the drones, you know, relative to the game state. 65 Harvesters, that third doesn't look too... okay, some more drones being added on. Trying to pick up a queen there. Great transfuse here from Killer, but Hero being very proactive with these Phoenixes. Really good with his control. APM off the treasure, but this guy's going to spot that Spire. And, you know, I think Hero is definitely at an advantage here. 127 to 110. Up in Harvesters, got that third base, has got the 6 gases, getting more drone kills. I feel like Killer going for the Storm Host, it's going to be a positional game. He's got to find a way to keep Hero away while he gets his econ up, while he gets his tech up, and while he gets those expensive units out.
Storm hosts are definitely the direction he wants to do. If you're not going to be ahead in an economy, you got to go for cost-efficient units, and Storm hosts are pretty much one of the most cost-efficient units Zerg has at their disposal. The tricky part is Hero's up by 30 food.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult to defend against Hero's attacks because he's going to have a significantly larger army, and it's going to be Blink Stalker's Colossi, which is fairly mobile, and he's going to add on some more prisms into this so he can be attacking from multiple angles.
Lots of lings going down to those Colossi. Every single unit is going to be very important for Killer. 5 Corruptors in production to deal with both the Colossi and, of course, the Phoenixes. And, of course, potentially help snipe observers once the Swarm Hosts get in play. And here come the Locusts. But Hero coming forward here, and Killer isn't at that Swarm Host count that's actually going to be scary. He's still a bit away from that, so we'll have to see if Hero can take advantage.
There's only a few Swarm Hosts out right now. There's not enough Locusts. Does Hero have an observer? Can he see these Swarm Hosts?
Units tab shows there are 2 observers on the field, but again, the Overseer is here. Oh, and Vision out of the Oracle is going to be able to spot anything.
Oh, great moves by Hero. Of course, he's got to keep that Oracle alive as well. Stalker's taking out a single in the Swarm Host. Hydra's being cut off by force fields. Hero's army may just be too big here.
Yeah, Hero is so good. Countering across the map here. 3 Colossi, plenty of Stalkers, Field Mortals, Time Warps being mixed in. The Oracle the Oracle is still there providing that detection. He's going to be able to do that for a very long time. Of course, restarting it, and the Swarm Host going to back up. Killer down to 3 bases, trying to come up with an answer. 50 Roach in production. There's the GG, and Hero takes victory in game number 1, which means he is 1 win away, meaning the number 1 seed in Group A, of course, advancing to the round of 16. But that was a game where Hero did some stuff that didn't work, like the 4-gate stuff, but he was still ahead the entire game, it felt like.
He was. You know, Killer just sacrificed so much to try to get that attack going.
Yeah.
And it just never worked. I mean, the force fields and the photon overcharge is just such a strong combination. Trying to go with a straight-on attack against a Protoss that early in the game is a very, very tough thing to do.
Yeah, a great game from Hero. You know, great force fields. You know, he had those 2 Immortals out to help protect that 3rd base. Cloud Kingdom's such a hard map to try to abuse your opponent's 3rd base because, again, it's on the high ground above a ramp. But Killer did a great job trying to split up those units and come in from 2 locations. But Hero was just too good for that, and he's going to take game number 1. Of course, there we see that moment, those beautiful force fields to keep that army away, and then the additional force fields backing up with the army. Photon Overcharge now going down and realizing, okay, this is a pretty big threat, and then is just able to just clean up those units fairly well, and then being very active with his Stargate units. Stargate units throughout that map as well, also showing a lot of patience, not necessarily trying to sprint across the map once he got that advantage, but staying patient, getting on 3 bases, waiting for that range upgrade on the Colossi, and then pushing forward with a bunch of gateway units, was able to close out Killer in game number 1. Guys, stay tuned. This is a best of 3, game 2 of this winner's match of Group A coming up.